Aaron from New Zealand, and of course we have to talk about the extension of the Sandals Resort area, otherwise known as the mountainous areas of New Zealand, where the red deer were delayed by the La Nina year, I guess it's called. And that means that the deer decided to keep their antlers an extra week while they're prancing around the mountains. Plus also, as you mentioned, there was a nutter that decided that he didn't want to get rid of the rats and pests in the forests that the New Zealand government was going to use. He wanted to keep his rats, probably because he has the satanic altar and he wants to make sure there's no deficiency of rats for sacrifice. But I have a bizarre sense of humor, yes. Yes, but anyway, the fact is that we have lots of supply. It's highly tested. It's absolutely pure. And it is the cleanest and most powerful thing that's what we call the extracellular matrix for regenerating tissues. And we're working hard to license to bring it to America here, and we'll be the only nation that will have the DR cap, and we'll be the only supplier that will have DR cap version in the not too distant future. But Mountain Red Velvet, I personally have a bottle on my desk, and I open up a capsule 2 or 3 times a day at least, put it under my tongue, and absorb those fragile biomolecules. But it's absolutely amazing. If you've got back pain, you're regenerating an organ, liver, heart, kidney, brain, it makes your cells and tissues act like you're a fetus again. And that's how important this is. That's pretty neat, isn't it?
Well, this is what we hear from people is, gee, I feel brand new. Gee, I feel like the oil is back in my body and I don't creak anymore. I've got more energy. And that's what people say, gosh, it just makes such a difference. My knees don't hurt when I stand up. That lower back pain when I'm standing working all day is gone. And I can sleep. And that's so important for, the body to heal itself. And if you think about what Mountain Red Deer Velvet can do, it is a product that heals the body. It doesn't mask the pain. It doesn't mask the symptoms that the body...
No, it fixes the problem. Yeah, let me get into some fancy science here, and I'm going to move it. Just remember, you're in the back seat of the Lamborghini Countach, and I'm going to now accelerate to 260 miles an hour. Okay? Intellectually. So... yeah, strap in, make sure you're ready with your helmet on. Okay. What is pain? Pain is fractionated collagen and local substances like slow reactive substances, anaphylaxis, bradykinin, and neurotenins. They're released at the Langerhans complex, which is the dermo-epidermal junction of your skin, in a grid-like pattern like Tron. I learned how to map these out using a acupuncture point finder and a frequency spectral analyzer from Keithley Enterprises used for checking microchips in spectral frequencies of microvolts and picoamps. When you look at the body, what pain is basically telling the body, don't move it, it's broken. And what the body senses is fractured collagen, microcirculatory issues result, which is vasospasms, the autonomic nerves, and you get muscle firing patterns because there's a disturbance in what's called proprioception and neural firing patterns to maintain what's called eccentric and eccentric muscle firing so that they're less than 180 degrees in their muscle firing for any muscle around any joint in your body. Now, when you want to fix pain, you fix the fragmented collagen, the other substances that are present when the tissue is not healing or it's stopped healing. A lot of people don't realize the tissue can reach a certain point where the inflammatory reaction is a physiological normal response for a very short period of time, and then it's replaced the healing response. When you start giving Mountain Red Velvet, it transitions from the inflammatory response where it tells the body to splint and not move an organ, your bones, muscles, ligaments, etc. And now those neurotenins, bradykinins, and fractured fragments of collagen, etc., disappear because the tissue is actually healed. So pain is a normal neurological response to a situation where you have partial healing. And when you actually heal it, the pain goes away because it's a neurological reaction. Remember now, pain is an informational disorder. It's not, as people think, a neurological disorder. It's an informational disorder where there's abnormal muscle proprioception, muscle firing patterns, and vasoconstriction, which you can see in a digital thermogram. So, Mountain Red Velvet, the reason why it takes away pain is not because it's, quote, an anti-inflammatory, it's an anti-destructor. It actually gets rid of, it's like coming in with a special crew of really good engineers to go into a plant and say, well, we know why your factory's not working, and they go in and find all the things are broken, and then it just whizzes past and doesn't make a clanging sound or noise or whatever. In your body, that causes pain. Exactly. So all the doctors that try to chase pain with narcotics or injections or spinal stimulators or pumps because they just want to pump in neurological stimuli from the spinal cord, they're completely wrong-headed. pain is an informational disorder of your peripheral and central nervous system, and there's 7 pain gates, and I discovered them and have it in my patents. The most important primary one is the Langerhans gate. The same doctor that discovered the insulin in the Langerhans complex in your pancreas discovered the pathology but didn't know how it worked. I know how it worked, and I published it the first time, 1986 patents, U.S. Patent Office. We also developed what's called the Dynatens, which is a morphogenic field machine that I developed with a government grant. And I presented my theories on phonon maser biophysics in 1983 to a panel of biophysicists at the University of Calgary. So, going back to slow gear now, if you take Mountain Red Velvet, you're going to heal and your pain will go away, not because it's an anti-inflammatory, because it fixed the problem. Exactly. That's pretty radical, isn't it?
It is, and if there's one product that you can take as you get older or as you want to heal these injuries, it's Mountain Red Deer Velvet, because there are 396 different active ingredients inside every capsule, and that heals the body.
Well, let's tell what Dr. Deagle's thinking up, because I have thousands of inventions that I want to implement. Some of them I've stacked away that I even have patents on. But this one is one. I want to collaborate with your company to develop a surgical version of this product for treatment by trauma surgeons, plastic surgeons, organ transplant surgeons, people trying to reconstruct organs using 3D printing. If you're going to 3D print an organ, I saw a special on CalPen on the big picture. People need to understand that you can't just print an organ by laying out cells in a structure and then cooking it in a bioreactor. You have to have the extracellular matrix. And the problem is that the epigenetics of cellular expression and building especially solid organs like a liver or kidneys will only occur when you understand the biophotonics of how cells are differentiated, and they need the extracellular matrix so that information can't happen to turn on and off the genes to create the structure and function. So what I want to see is a microgranulated form that can be put in wounds. I want to see a particle formed down to nanoparticles that could be in my cells that you can give intravenously. So when someone's got a trauma, you can actually give an IV of this and it'll start to heal the tissues from the inside. I want to see sheets and strips so you can put it around solid organs. Let's say you've got they did research, for example, using pig bladder, which is basement membrane, and they turned it into a surgical sheets, and the last few years the U.S. military's done this, and they've actually seen regeneration of quadriceps muscles, fingertips, etc., by just slapping these things on the end, because it then starts the signal-to-noise ratio to allow the gene expression to rebuild an organ even past the joint that's been torn off. So it literally creates the joint itself and then the rest of the finger. So what we're talking about is literally the ability to actually 3D print an organ with extracellular matrix that'll actually rebuild a kidney, an eyeball, or a liver for you. So if you lose something or you need a new one in the future, you'll actually be able to 3D print it, but you'll need the extracellular matrix that we're developing in order for it to work.
Exactly. So if you want to start today, Mountain Red Deer Velvet is available through your website today.
Yeah, you can do it now. You don't have to wait until you can 3D print your liver. Start. If you got, we had somebody they had a consult and wanted to know how to reproduce their liver. Firstly, the power of ones. Get a mild hyperbaric oxygen chamber because you got a serious condition. Take all our Nutrimeds to regenerate. Get rid of the scar tissue with seroflozyme and Inflamex. Turn off the inflammation with cell defense, cell detox, glutathione, Nutritrol, and Regenerex. Take all the things to regenerate the organ, including Nutrifos, Neurogen, but the most important is, drum roll, Mountain Red Velvet. And if you take Mountain Red Velvet, what your body says is, I can do this. In fact, it should be on the bottom of the label to your cells. I can do this. Because you start taking this and people say, why is my memory better? How come I'm getting erections again? How come my skin looks great and it's not tearing when I bump into the wall? How come my knees going every time I move? How come my tendons in my feet are not hurting when I don't have plantar fasciitis? Why are my peripheral nerves working and I can feel the floor? Ooh, amazing.
Exactly.
As they say, we've got some amazing things we're imagineering into the future, just like the Disney Corp. You have to understand that the future is bright and amazing. And you don't need to wait till you can 3D print that liver. Rebuild it now with Mountain Red Velvet. Take care. Back with our next guest, Dave Mitchell. Dave, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Dave, give us the pearls of your wisdom in real estate as a broker. Of course, you do all kinds of cool things that I think no other broker that I know does. You're able to provide the best service for getting people to move from their home anywhere in America to a land that I call the best state, the West Coast. I call it the best coast, here, especially in San Diego County. You operate basically anywhere from south of San Francisco in terms of buying and selling real estate directly in this state. But you can help people working with other brokers and real estate brokers, which are more than just a realtor, and any other part of the country or even outside the country, helping people to get properly prepped, right up to what we call large tracts of land that can be used for a development I call cities of refuge for a future where there's a collapse of civilization. And I tell people you have to have multi-layers for prepping. First layers have water bottles and 5-gallon containers in your closet or your attic, whatever, and having dry food or dehydrator, and having a backup power source and self-protection. And then there's more layers and more layers. And the ultimate layer is if society collapses for more than 2 months, you need to be able to go to a remote place where you could be safe from an insane public that's lost its marbles and is starving, dehydrated, hungry, and violent. And people think that that can happen. They need to think twice about how fragile our civilization is in our advanced culture. It very well could happen, but 98% of disasters are going to be what we call mini disasters, where your power goes out for 4 days, or the cost of food goes through the ceiling because of, say, for example, the turkeys and chickens are dying, so they're freaked out. We're going to talk about that in hour 3. So what kind of real estate things do you offer that are very unique in terms of services?
Well, mainly helping people set up whatever they need to set up. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time. I've lived on a farm, kind of a ranch. Used to be a cattle ranch 50 years ago. We even have a meat locker on the property that from the old ranching days. But you know, there's an orchard and dug wells and barbed wire fencing and all that. I've dealt with tractors and all the kind of things you deal with on country property.
One of the things, because I know you really well, I'm going to kind of fire some questions to bring out all your wisdom on this. You mentioned that you have at least 5 properties now that are fit for multi-families. They have wells on them, they're remote, they have, obviously here in Southern California you get tons of sunlight. If you have a well and a gravity storage tank above, even if the power goes out, you're going to have water. People need to be aware that going this far south, you're not going to be exposed to radiation from Fukushima. You're also not downwind of a nuclear reactor like Arizona or New Madrid or any other place. So people need to be aware that this is an ideal place for people to prep and to get into a remote area.
Well, we have a Mediterranean climate, and a lot of people consider it the best climate in the world. And we're even getting more rain. Everybody's heard about the drought in California. Well, we probably have 50% more rain this year than last.
Yeah, and the reason is we're into a Maunder cooling period, which is they call it mini ice age or a Maunder ice age.
In the last month, we've gotten 3 inches alone.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, and I think that it's over. I hear some music in the background. I hope it's not coming from our studio or from your place, is it?
No, there's no music.
I think it must be bleeding in from the studio, so maybe they can check over Genesis and see what's happening there, because I'm hearing music, and it's not my studio here. It's elsewhere. It probably was an open mic or speaker. Now, the other thing is prepping. I tell people the first thing to think of, you have properties that you mentioned have several wells, a surface well and a deep well. They have storage tanks. They have large tracts of land. It's easy to farm. There's good soil there. It's also, if you just want to get a home, a lot of time you can get a manufactured home that you can buy and ship there. You can put a turtle tuff shelter. If you contact me, I can get special arrangements for you. You can get a price reduction on a turtle tuff shelter. You can get a fifth wheel and park it out there if you don't want to do that. If you want to build a home or a series of homes, you can subdivide the land up and have some of the pieces of land, you could have up to 100 families there. I mean, it really is amazing. And I tell people, if things get more stretched than 2 to 6 months where things are broken down, people need to be in a what I call remote community, where they have the full set of skill sets, whether it's medical, dental, engineering, self-protection, nursing, baby care, everything you want to have. You want to have, in a sense, a village with some duplication of abilities and teaching each other so that you have a completely self-enclosed community that can survive. You need to have people that can weld, people that can farm, people that can take care of chickens, people that know how to hunt, people that know how to protect the property, people that know something about well service, etc., so that you can take or handle things like even broken down farm equipment if you have a small tractor, or if you're using other technologies to try to maintain some degree of civilization. You know, like the movie with Kevin Costner called The Postman.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Is there any noise going on in the background, some music or something, or TV?
No, I can't hear you. Let me see. Is that better?
Yes, it is.
Fan. I'm in my car. I had a fan on.
No, I heard something that didn't sound like a fan. It sounded like there was talking and almost like a TV show.
No, that's not here. I can't hear anything.
Maybe it was my guess. A speaker on in the studios there at Genesis, and it was bleeding across back into the mics. Okay, so yeah, pretty exciting stuff. And I tell people, if you have any questions, contact Dave at 619-990-6050. 619-990-6050. And there's a direct link at the affiliates, the bottom of the affiliates banner ads, right on the top of the right-hand side of Nutrimedical. You can see Dave and Jean Mitchell right there. As I say, they're my realtor brokers. They should be yours. If you want to know about prepping, even moving to another country, Dave can work with you going anywhere in the world. So contact him. By the way, every hour is open lines 800-259-5791, but stay on topic with whatever topic or product we're talking about. We have Chris Jackson talking about VibraSlim, and I made some new interesting discoveries regarding that with my own routine. I have the adjustable hand weights, which will go up to 50 pounds in each weight, which is really good. And I'm able to actually do vibrational exercise on the platform with these weights, besides my body elastic bands and my gymnastic bar, which is above my VibraSlim through the ceiling, because I have a 10-foot ceiling in my fitness workout area that's bolted into the roof, the actual ceiling joists. So I can put tremendous resistance there, but also these free weights, it's amazing. And I tell people the VibraSlim is giving your body vitamin G for gravity. So if you have a 25-pound or a 50-pound weight, you can multiply that by 3.6 in terms of its peak effect for part of that cycle where the G-force is actually going through you. So if you're holding a 25-pound weight, you're almost holding the equivalent of around 95 pounds of actual weight for a fraction of the second, and the biological effect on your body, even though there's less chance of injury because you're holding a lighter weight, is amazing. And because you may have, say, 50 cycles a second actually striking your body, you're actually getting a stimulation of the Golgi tendon apparatus and the mitochondria 50 times a minute, which is just amazing. I mean, it really is amazing. Actually, 50 times a second, I mean. You're getting a vibration there. So, Chris, have you heard of that, using free weights on the vibrational platform?
Oh, yeah, like quite common, especially the athletes, Olympic athletes and pro athletes who use them. They'll get on there and not only use resistance bands, but they'll use free weights just like what you're talking about, and it has really, really good results, because you can't get that sort of effect on your body and your muscles doing anything else. Like lifting free weights is not the same as lifting free weights on the machine because of that effect that you said. It's for a microsecond you've got a lot of weight on you, but you don't really feel it because it happens very quickly.
So it doesn't induce injury. In other words, you're not going to tear a shoulder capsule or whatever. So when I'm lifting, if I'm lifting, for example, a weight that is, say, 25 pounds, let's say, and I'm going to multiply that by 3.6, how much weight do you think that's equivalent to? It's equivalent to 90 pounds. Now, most people aren't going to do a 90-pound weight above their head and swing it around and move it in different directions, right, unless you're really blown out and really big. But you can start off, even a female, with a 5-pounder weight. And if you do those exercises on the vibrational platform, the physiological effect on you is going to improve muscle control, muscle firing pattern, which protects you from injuries. For example, your shoulder joint is a tensor joint, which means the muscles are pulling in all 6 different vectors of force. And when you improve proprioception, you reduce the risk of an injury tremendously. You improve the muscle firing patterns to actually maintain the proper motion without jamming the rotator cuff of your shoulder against the various bony aspects of the shoulder capsule. So that's pretty amazing. Same way with squats. If you're doing a squat, for example, with free weights, and like I was carrying yesterday, I was doing them 2 25-pound weights in my hands. I take my weight plus 50 pounds. That 50 pounds is equivalent to an extra 90 pounds of weight. Now, when your body does that, it strengthens up your spine, it strengthens up your abdominal muscles, what's called the flexor muscles, or your psoas muscles that attach to your spine on the inside retroperitoneally and to the inside of your thighs. It has amazing physiological effects that you can't just with free weights unless you get really high weight. And I think it's far safer than what I call the CrossFit. I saw the knucklehead idiot that is the poster child, but he's extremely aggressive and very stupid, that pushes CrossFit. CrossFit causes a lot of injury. What you want is vibrational exercise with free weights and bands so you can build up strength and proprioception, and you don't tear shoulder capsules, you don't get injuries, because when you do explosive exercises like the CrossFit without building up proprioception, you're going to tear something. You're going to get a ruptured ACL, you're going to get a rotator cuff tear, you're going to get epicondylitis, you're going to get injuries. And the few that don't get injuries eventually will, because they're going to reach their physiological max, and when they hit that wall, then their proprioception won't be enough to protect them from throwing a kettle weight on their head or landing with something else on them. So I know people are reading into this CrossFit and these ideas of a box. This is all what I call an exercise cult. And it's like any other cult, it's going to hurt you. So people need to know that. Get a vibrational platform, buy at Amazon some body elastic bands, get some adjustable hand weights, which I like, or the smaller ones in your hands if you're female, and start exercising. And I recommend 20 minutes all in one session at least, or 10 minutes twice a day. That's all you need, no matter what else you do. If you're a runner, golfer, power lifter, whatever else you're doing, even if you're not on the vibrational platform, you need that proprioceptive muscle firing pattern, 100% recruitment of the short, we call the fast and slow switch fibers, which you can't get with regular exercise through the full range of motion. And also restore what's called the eccentric and concentric muscle firing patterns, which you have to do with a Cybex machine. This, to me, with body elastic bands, is superior to Cybex. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. And, and like you say, it's the safest way to exercise by far. You can put very fragile elderly people on it. You can put teenagers on it. It's super safe and it's very, very effective, much more effective than any other type of exercise.
And we have, of course, a nice banner ad right up at the front top of Nutrimedical.com. Hit the link. By the way, these devices are amazing prices. If you go to one of our anti-aging conferences, like the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and you go through the, 100,000 acre or whatever I called the square foot area where the vendors are, and you'll see all these different vendors like PowerPlate. To get the equivalent of a machine, you'd have to spend around $7,000 to $10,000. Your machines are better built, they're modular, which means you can just pop off a module or part of it. The motors are a lifetime warranty. There's a 3-year warranty on everything on the machine, including electronics, which you'll replace by just setting the other module. They can snap on. You can't beat it. They're so solidly built. The chiropractors and physiatrists are buying these machines for their clinic that they use continually all day long, not just for a half an hour or 20 minutes each day, but for continuous throughout the whole day for years. So that's how strong the machines are built. They're really, really solid. I tell people, some people say, well, they shake the heck out of you. That's the whole point. When minutes of exercise in this machine is equivalent to an hour of aerobics. It also lowers your set point for defending a lower weight, releases growth hormone, stimulates the connective tissues to increase the tensile strength of your connective tissues. So part of the problem with fitness is we see the average male peaks their strength at age 24 and their connective tissue strength at 35 to 40. Now, if those two curves are different, your muscles are going to be so strong, like Gronkowski from the Patriots, you're going to tear your knee apart and get an ACL rupture. That's part of the problem. Same way with CrossFit, it doesn't concentrate on proprioception and muscle firing pattern and control. It's show-off kind of exercise where you do explosive exercises that'll slowly blow you up, but once you reach your biological maximum, you're going to blow something or injure yourself. Just like the poster child that limps, that actually invented CrossFit because they had a improper dismount. It's okay to push yourself because you had polio. It's not okay to recommend to people explosive exercise that's going to injure them. Okay? So, that's my bone to pick with CrossFit. What do you think?
I agree. There's a lot of injuries resulting from that. It's hard on your muscles, your tendons, your joints. It's hard on everything.
So if you're out there and you think you don't know what, if you're out there and you think I don't know what to do, I spent decades rehabilitating people who were blown up by CrossFit and other types of stupid exercise, or work in factories where they would get injured because of stupid ergonomics of the factory. And when I do a factory walkthrough and blog and report, what they needed to do and show proper respect is, I'm Moses coming down from the mountain with tablets from the Most High God, and you need to respect it or a lightning bolt's going to come out and fry you to the ground. And so when I make us pronounce something like this, it's not just an opinion, it's the way it is. And people might think that's arrogant. I'm really ticked off at seeing people injured by stupid technologies and equipment. Fibrosome is not stupid. You can put your grandma on it, if she can't even stand, hold her up there and have her just squat even 10 degrees at her hips and move her legs and we'll stand on one foot while you're holding her, and she'll get benefit for her bones. That's how amazing it is. Bob Dennis, Dr. Bob, I got a little story to tell you. I grabbed my device, which I have, which is the older SomaPulse, and I'm about to get one of the micropulses for myself. I can tell you, these devices are amazing, and yours is even more advanced. The problem is when we purchased the first SomaPulse, it was $1,000 more, and there's a lot of confusion. Other people say, what do you mean $1,000 less? It must be junk. No, it's actually a lot better, has more adjustments. It can go higher in power and lower in power. Certain frequencies have been taken out and other ones augmented. So it has more power to turn off pain, stimulate tissue regeneration and healing. If you have somebody with a bunged up knee, like my knee was bothering me the last few weeks from some super heavy exercise I'm doing, I slapped on the SomaPulse, had it work like a charm. Within minutes, the pain was gone. I was like, whoa, miraculous. And I'm taking all my fancy supplements, so it's healing like crazy. My knee doesn't bother me. I only used it yesterday. That's it. Knee's perfect now. No problem. I tell people whether you're trying to regenerate your liver, your kidneys, you're trying to turn off pain from headaches and TMJ problems or occipital neuritis, or you've got a periodontal infection, you've got osteomyelitis in your bone, you want to heal that, you want to penetrate better circulation to get the antipathogenics we're giving you like Allicin Med, Nutridyne. So it's like you said, I love the tagline you use. You want the proper substance and signal, and you provide the amazing signal of pain control, healing, and stem cell regeneration with the micropulse. Tell us more about it, the A9A. I can hear you in the background, Bob. It sounds like you're either you have a pet dragon or
military helicopter just flew overhead.
Well, that's okay. We'll let our military make their noise.
Not much we can do about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you can't stop it. So tell me what tell me about the A9A. This is a machine with the code Dr. Deagle, Dr. Deagle. You're going to save $30, and it's now under $400. It was $1,400 just last year for a SomaPulse. Now these new, more advanced machines are $1,000 cheaper and are better. Tell us why.
Well, we've done about 4 years of additional research and development since you bought your SomaPulse. And the new model A9A has every improvement that we could make. Now, some of these improvements are effectiveness, right? You turn it on and it's supposed to do something for you. That's where you'll say, hey, it works better. A lot of that has to do with optimizing the stimulus protocol. A lot of that has to do with optimizing the coils, optimizing, the overall system for its biological effect, which we've done. So it does work better. It lasts longer. We get very, very few returns for loss of function. And of course, we have a very, very comprehensive, spectacular warranty support program. So we're never going to leave you in the lurch on that. We've improved the reliability by a factor of 40 times more reliable in terms of it just as a device. And then a lot of the improvement went into the actual product design. I did about 2 solid years of product design work. Was able to improve the function, improve the efficiency, while also removing expensive components, expensive processes. So you actually get more and you pay less. It's sort of like a laptop. You can buy a laptop today for a lot less than you have paid for a laptop 5 or 10 years ago, but it's a better machine. So it's just like that.
Now, at Wake Forest University, they're printing organs now. They're actually printing what we call tubular organs, bladders, things like that. And they're trying to put them in a bioreactor and then cook it so that it'll actually form a bladder they can transplant to somebody that needs a new bladder if they have bladder cancer. When we're getting into solid organs, and I've talked to Mountain Red Velvet, that we're actually going to get pharmaceutical companies involved to make a microgranular form, a surgical strip form, and a nanoparticle form that can be put in liposomes of the Mountain Red Velvet by 396 biomolecules, 6 enzymes, growth factors. But the extracellular matrix is a transducer of signal. So when you have the ECM, which is the same as the fetus, it allows you for your stem cells to know what to do, or your cells and neurocytes, myocytes, etc., to differentiate, to heal, and get rid of the old cells by apoptosis. And that process of signal is where I visualize it. Let's say Johnny needs a new hand. He was in the military, his hand's blown off. What we'll do is in the future, we will actually take a sample of tissue of, say, his wrist, and we'll put those cells in a bioreactor, put in the right signal to turn on the genes, and we'll print actually the structure of his hand based on a mirror image of his other hand, and then with the extracellular matrix and the signal in the bioreactor for over a period of weeks or months, you'll see the hand actually form. And you need that signal it's interesting because when you go into near space, way above the troposphere, the Schumann resonance of the Earth is so weak that cells start to de-differentiate because they need the Schumann resonance frequency to stimulate the electrons in the outer orbitals to express someone's genetics. In other words, you can't express the genetics of a human being or another life form if you don't have a portion of the Earth's Schumann resonance. But when you take the polar resonance field, which you've done in your research at NASA in the A9A, you actually get a 400% increase in stem cell differentiation and healing and tissue regeneration and genetic expression, which is pretty darn amazing. So you're increasing what's called the signal-to-noise ratio of tissue communication through biophotons. So where I see it in the future is Wake Forest will have, say, our product for Mountain Red Velvet. They're already using work on pig bladder, basement membrane. They'll have a variation of one of your machines that you'll probably be the one licensing it to create a bioreactor to rebuild organs. So if you need a new liver, we're going to build it for you. It'll take 3 months. When it's ready, we'll bring you to the transplant unit and give you a new liver that's your own liver made from your own cells. That's where I think things go. But they need the signal for that transducing extracellular matrix to actually allow the cells to differentiate and create an actual physical organ with a particular structure necessary to provide its structure and function. Does that make sense?
Well, actually, I probably never told you this, but for many years I had funding from DARPA to do tissue engineering for tissue replacement organ regeneration. So, and I know Tony Atala, Dr. Atala at Wake Forest pretty well. This was back in the days when I had my laboratory at MIT and Harvard Medical School.
Right.
And I had very good funding, actually, from DARPA, and we did a broad range of organ tissue engineering experiments, mostly musculoskeletal, skeletal muscle, tendon, ligament, bone, cartilage, as well as cardiovascular. So
yeah, our vets are coming back not dead,
but that kind of stuff. And I can tell you, there's a lot of things that people are bringing to bear to work on this problem. Wake Forest is one of them, and it's a huge, massive, sort of distributed research effort. I still have vast numbers of ongoing collaborations in this area. And in fact, what I do, believe it or not, one of the main things that I do now is provide bioreactor design support for people in this area of research for virtually any tissue you can think of.
So you're already there. And so the missing pieces of the puzzle, and I'm presenting this to a paper for the Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine in December, What is Aging? What's Organ Regeneration? That paper will be presented this December in Las Vegas to 6,000 plus doctors. I've got all the other pieces of the puzzle. And I also I know what things to actually add in there in terms of nutrients and extracellular matrix to make the transduction work. The University of in Madison, Wisconsin, and University of Minnesota did work on it, and they were able to take a ghost heart of a sheep where they strip all the cells, so there's no antigenic stimuli, but they have all the collagen, but there's not all the extracellular matrix. And when they infuse cells in there, they're able to grow back about 2%, so they get pulsatile cells that'll start to differentiate into heart muscle cells. But if you have the full extracellular matrix and your signal to create a morphogenic field effect, you're going to start seeing regeneration. But you don't need to wait to then. If you got a knee that's bunged up, I tell people, get the orthopedic surgeon to clean out the defibrillated cartilage and junk, put in Highland polymer made from rooster combs, 3 million molecular weight, take our nutraceuticals to start regenerating your own cartilage and so on, and then put the signal, strap on a micropulse and wear it day and night. And over the next number of months, you're going to rebuild that cartilage, ligaments, joints, and connective tissue menisci. You don't need to do a knee replacement. You need to do a tissue regeneration because everybody's organs are always regenerating every day. You're not the same person you were 1 year ago or 10 years ago. You're in other words, you're the 2015 model of what you were. Right?
Yep, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, amazing. So Micropulse, don't be a looky-loo. We are following you, and I'll be contacting you if you actually popped over on that site. I'll be contacting you directly to ask you if you saw it and you knew it was going to help your problem, why at this amazing price have you not purchased it? A lot of people have. Many more should. Suffer no more. Get your Micropulse and take your Nutrimeds, your Signal, and your Substance, and you're going to heal. It is a miracle, and it works now. It's available to you today in the 21st century. It should be the 25th.
That's where it's from.
That's a little slip there. It should be the 25th century, but it's the 21st. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bob. We'll have you back on next week. Just stay right there. We'll get some time set up. And hour 3 coming up, and our Professor McCanney, amazing stuff, and more. So lots of amazing science. Back in a moment.